from a therapist perspective, I feel like this is like one of the most honest depictions of mental health, especially
Yes.
like it's not, surface level mental health. We're talking about a girl who has dealt with depression, who has
Hmm.
dealt with, self injury, right? Like
Yes,
it's like
yes,
like you don't see that quite often. I feel like when growing up, actually, people used to talk about like cutting and all of that, but this right
yes,
here,
yes.
I feel like it has tapered off. And so I'm really interested in knowing like what stood out to you the most about how the show handled her in therapy and just mental health overall this season.
I think like what stood out is interesting because so many things stood out. But when it comes to Ginny particularly, I like how they're showing nothing's a quick solve. I like
Yes.
how they're showing that like going to therapy is the first step, but it's not going to cure you immediately. I think so many times people, especially our generation, we want things quick. We
Yeah.
like Gen Z, like we want things immediately. Like okay, fix me. Let's go. I've been here for a year. Why am I still considering burning? Why is the thing that I'm still struggling with? And like that it's an ongoing journey and not something that is just fixed and then it's done.
Yeah.
Like we spent, for Ginny, I guess what, 16, 15 years, some of us 30 years with the wounds that were there to fix. It's not going to be fixed in a year or two. And I think that's like a thing that I don't know if people talk about it enough. And so I really love that it's a slow burn of growth. And I love how much they're showing that how much your parents play a role in what you have and you're dealing with. Because, baby, a lot of times we want to just say, because, and I get it, I feel the same way. Like, our parents have done so much for us. I mean, just childbirth and pregnancy alone, it's like whatever you want, girl, you can have it. But when we're honest about, I mean, nobody's perfect, and childhood trauma is real. You do not get away unscathed. I think somebody once told me like having a child is like picking up a glass every day. Your fingerprints are going to be on it, like whether you want to or not. And I thought that was such a good metaphor because it's like there's just no way you can be that responsible and you don't leave a mark. And so I love the way that her therapist ties in her parents and like the relationship and their dynamic into this issue that she may not have connected with them prior.
Season two definitely helped you kind of see like the backstory and unpacking. There are so many things like outside of her control. And then season three was like, okay, like the strategy, the plan, like it built on that. Because even when she was talking to her therapist and she was just saying like, I'm just so upset that I'm still here, and just all of the things, and her therapist was like, we can rage, we can cry, and then we enact the plan. And then she ran it through with her.
I
What's the
love a plan.
plan?
What's the
And
plan?
it what's the plan? What's the strategy? Because because that's the area that you have control. You don't have control over your feelings. You don't have control over the emotions that pop up, but you do have control over the response to the emotions.
Yes.
And I think that that was just fabulous, with the show showing how therapists can, yes, help you unpack so you get the backstory and all that. And not that it's necessarily necessary to do that, but for Jenny, we're seeing unpacking, backstory, plus strategy and how it works
Yes.
because she understands through the unpacking. My behavior is tied to when I tend to feel this way because of these experiences. So when I notice that I'm experiencing certain things, I tend to feel this way, which will usually lead me to want to self injure. So I get it now, and this is what I can do.
I love also that they show if you're brave enough to be vulnerable with your family about what you're going through,
Yeah.
how the people who may even have been the ones to trigger you can then be the ones to support you. Because
Yes.
I think there's multiple occasions in this season where both Zion and Georgia are like, are you burning? They know her triggers. They know
Yeah.
what to look for. And there's actually a certain scene where Georgia is banging on the door as Jenny's about to burn because she knows and she's talking her down from it. And she
Yeah.
wouldn't have known to do that if she never, like in season one, she never knew to do that because she never knew it was an issue. And I
Yeah.
love like just that show of it takes a village, to heal. It takes a village to wound. It takes a village to heal, child.
Yeah, because you can heal in community. And her therapist says like we're only as sick as our secrets. Secrets hold power. So you have her mom who's able to, because I bet her mom is afraid. Jordan's afraid. She doesn't want to see her
Yeah.
child hurt. But in response to that fear, she's like, I'm going to protect my child. I'm going to stick up for her and advocate for her and try to keep her grounded in this moment where she's flailing. And then you see Ginny actually opening up to her friend Bracia and saying, hey, like, I self-injured. And Bracia's like, okay. And she's like, I
Yes.
get it. Like, there's so much power in peer validation, because you see a lot of her interactions with her parents and the adults in her life, but to now see her opening up to someone who's in her age range, who can only, I
Yes.
mean, who can only imagine like how you deal with the pressures of high school and all of these things. And it's just like, wow, like my parents can be there, yes, but there's power in friendship.
With Abby's eating disorder, that was another moment where I saw friendship and community, like in
Yes.
that, like in action. Because I don't know how healthy it is that Ginny and Nora went about it this way, but I love that they did. They said, "Let's come in gentle. Like, did you see this? I see this. Like, can we come together and talk to her about this?" And then the way in their teenage minds were like, "Let's just start listing off our issues, and maybe she won't feel alone." Like, they were like, "Well, I do this." And I do this, and she's like, and I self-harm. And then Nora's like, I dress up like a unicorn and do makeup on TikTok live. And everybody was like, wait, what? Like, but I love that they were like, we're just gonna keep shouting out our flaws and the secrets till you feel comfortable enough to tell us one of yours. And it was, I loved that scene because it kind of, it eased the tension of it and made Abby feel less alone in how her pain is being personified through this eating disorder. It's like, we don't see this as you less than or weaker. This is just your thing. We have our things, and in the same way you want to help support us through ours, we want to help support you through yours. And I thought that was very beautiful.